So this is the read in its entirety for today. I kept just feeling like I needed to pull one more card. So we're going to go through here. So this is the Five of Swords. And I did give myself time to have my own intuition about it, and then I also did read them, but now I'm going to summarize just to be clear. So the Five of Swords, this dude breaks into the castle, causes a bunch of shit. He's like clearly obstinate. Like, look at this dickhead. Like, what the fuck? Are you 12? Anyways, so this is like a devious, belligerent dude who's like victorious and shitty, and you know, really just putting his tongue out there, really just ridiculous, right? And this card talks about this guy, and you can see this dude, and he's clearly not going to be able to pull this sword out of the stone, right? Because obviously this isn't that guy. But right now he's won, right? We've got some like swords given up here. He's like this. There's a white flag. He's doing his shit. So he's won for now, but, or for then, rather. But yeah, so this came up, right? So then we have here the Two of Cups, and in this card, this death dude here, clearly having a relationship of fighting, right? Blue coat, red coat, but still soldier boys, is like wooing this beautiful midnight character here. Where's my hand? Here. She has like deep, fluctuating emotions, but they're toasting to a union that may not be awesome in the long run, or it will at least have some difficulties here, right? So here's like, word dude, it's good, I'm death, I've got like a dark fascination, blah, blah, blah. So this card at first, I was like, I don't get it. Also kind of don't get it. Like literally I was reading this and I'm like, this does not pertain to my life, I didn't feel like. Then this card came up, and basically when I I just asked like, what do I need to see in here? So this card, this Five of Wands in here is clearly conflict. We clearly have different factions fighting, right? They're all wearing sort of different things, different uniforms. And we have this brawl, and we also have this little Hopi boy here. It's like, hey, here's one of the wands. I'm growing because I'm so good, because you guys don't have to fight because it's like crazy times. But it's like they kind of did have to fight, right? Because they got in the fight in the first dang place. So, so the fight's like happening, right? But there's like some like little Hopi boy there, and everything's in full illumination. So these guys are like pretty on point to see what's going on here, right? And they're also like in a moment of pause. Like no one here is actually like hitting the other ones, right? They're like in this moment. So then we have the Lovers here. This coming together, a union. There's obviously, it's funny with cards like this that crack me up. So it's like, there's obviously some possibility of difficulty in the future, but like that's the whole thing, right? Like there's always in every relationship, in every situation, but this is actually a good union card. Like even in the deck, like the union is a positive, right? And it's actually like kind of like being influenced by this moon here, which is cool. We've got a full moon here, which is cool. So this is like a crescent moon. So this is like in the beginning, right? So it's like crescent moon in the beginning, belligerent soldier dickhead. Then it's like crescent moon again. We've got this like weird situation, this like strange union that's like, this is gonna be a problem, right? Then we got this. This card literally means in a dramatic form, it could be rioting in the streets and xenophobia and racism. It's like, oh, this shit isn't about me personally. This shit's about us. Wild, right? So this comes here, then leading into this union, right? Which has what seems like some certain obvious you know, they're literally like different skin colors, right? So I think that that was good. But what we also have here is like the man has the darker skin, the woman has the lighter skin, which shows like a reversal of, it shows like multiple levels of dominance, right? So if we compare this card to what we're doing right now, and white people are the majority and have more of the legal power, and black people don't. But in this scenario, the person with the darker skin, the black person, is a man, and the woman is white, which men have consistently across the board have more power than their female counterparts, even though that is not at all to say that white women have less power than black men in most situations. Obviously, that is not the case. But that asshole, that white asshole in the fucking park, like, was clearly, what's her name, Amanda some shit. Anyways, so she was clearly weaponizing her whiteness against a black man, which is ridiculous and terrible and whatever. So don't read too much into this, but this is like, it has these different like power dynamics, but both people are like consensual, they're super into it, they're like embraced, and it's like this possibility for future. So then here we have this person who's, you know, a marriage of both, and she's like in the fucking woods, right? This girl's like, oh goddamn, I'm in the woods, I'm getting cut up, like I don't know what's going on, but I've got these 5 growing, or nope, that's 7 growing wands, and I have a new crescent moon, right? So we've come like these 2 crescents, they're sort of turning. Then we've got 2 full moons. Then we've got this new beginning, right? This new place. And this person is coming out ahead. They're coming out of these woods. They're like out, see these nasty woods in the back? They're like dead and gross. They're out of there. They're like into this new future, right? Into this new place. And then this chariot is, first of all, on a personal level, gotta love this circle, man. I love this fucking guy. This guy's just so great. But this shows like tenacity, and it shows that unstoppable momentum when you move yourself forward in a new direction. So this was just like a really sort of amazing reading experience. And not really what I intended. I intended for like a lame-o, like, here's my day today. Now, if this is my day today, it's gonna be one wild day. But my perspective is really that what I needed to see was a little bit of the bigger picture. I asked, what do I need to see? And I was given a breakdown of like our current trauma of racism and the healing process we're going through. Situation that we're in. This is like where we were, right? Like here's like white people and their like shittiness, and especially in terms of like, here we got these like fucking dudes, right? He's like a war dude, you know, come on. Also, he's a war dude. These are like soldiers, right? And so this is like, I feel like this is like white folks doubling down. This is sort of where we were before. So I'm not saying I know for sure everything is like super different right now, but I do recognize that there are some very specific differences happening right now. There's different conversations, you know, in the 90s when Rodney King happened, like there were not police officers coming out and condemning that I can recall. There was not any active changes. There wasn't local governments, state governments talking about how to make sure that we can get voting power back into like populations that have been unnecessarily harassed and oppressed by the fucking police and the judicial system. You know, those conversations weren't really happening. And now it's like they are. And I'm not saying change has happened. There's like obviously a lot of work to do. But this to me is like, this is like the previous unions, you know, this uneasy alliances that have been happening, right? So like this is like white people and like sort of like all of the past, right? So then this is like where we've been in the more recent future, you know, this sort of like placated piece, this like we're doing some shit, but we're not doing enough, right? Like white people not doing enough was like, oh, here's our promises, here's like good shit, we're like, look at this. But then there's this cross that's not like interlinked arms, right? This is just like a dominating thing. Like, look at this dude. Like, what the fuck are you? Are you roofing this dude? What's happening? So so it's like, and she knows, look at this protective stance, right? She's like, no. She's like, I got a cool nipple ring, but like, no, dude. So yeah, so this is like where we've been, right? Like white folks not really addressing the real issue, not really coming into understanding, not really coming into a union, but coming into like a, how do we keep this from getting like super out of control, but still keep this like role of dominance, right? And so like here we are right now, right? Like people are fighting and it's a necessary fight, but there's like hope on the future, right? But like this is where we are. We're in this moment. And this is like where we are going. Like we're going to a place of like union. We're going to a place that is good and we're going to be better for it, which is going to require a lot of conversation, a lot of coming to the table. It's going to require, you know, more protests. It's going to require real change, because what we're seeing is that real change is possible in a realist, like in a timeline of now. Real change doesn't have to take fucking another 50 years. Like, we've done those 50 years. We've done those 100 years. Like, come on, folks. Get it together. Wow. Anyways, so, and then this is like the future, like where we're going, like this ultimate, these cards are the future cards, right? It's like, this is like where we are right now. And this is like where we're coming, and as a country and as a people, you know, as a society rather, like we're in the woods, but we're coming out, you know. And it's this process of coming to the table, of these battles that are happening right now, that are happening on the streets, and they're happening in families, and it's happening in conversations, and it's happening, you know, with the people to the president. You know what I'm saying? It's like, this is like, for sure, this is where we are. I mean, literally, even this card signifies racism and xenophobia. It's like, Jesus Christ. So, oh, sorry about that. So this is like just what I'm seeing. This is my read. That was like, what do you need to know? What do you need to remember? And so, for me personally, these are the cards, like the call for like real change and tenacity and like real plans. You know, these are the cards for like hope and action, you know, like pushing yourself through, like knowing that the journey is coming and the journey is good, and that it's going to be worth the things that are going on. You know, it's worth the this and the this. It's not worth this. This was just, shit was trash, right? This was just disgusting. Come on. Like, I don't think it's surprising to well, that's not true. It's surprising to some people, but seems like it ought not to be surprising to people to recognize that having the majority of power be in any particularly physically identifiable group is like not a good call, right? Like, the majority of power should be a diverse population that represents the diverse population of the masses, right? So, so that seems pretty obvious. So like, this was lame. This was super lame. This, you know, it kind of sucks like right now, and I realize that I'm saying that from being a white person in my house who is not protesting, you know, and I want to take a second and be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this. Well, whatever. And like explain and like rationalize and tell people like why, like that's super abnormal for me. But the reality is like, that's what I'm doing. I'm able to do it. I have my fears and my reasons that I'm not out on the streets protesting. And that's what's happening. That's what's happening. So I realize that. So it might seem like hypocritical for me to say that like this is a good place that we're at, even though it's a terribly difficult place that we're at, because I'm not in bodily danger right now, and there are people in those positions right now, but just because my perspective is from where it's at doesn't mean that witnessing it, that doesn't mean that it's not in many ways correct. Like, unfortunately, societies change through rebellions, and our Constitution was written so that we didn't have to do this to get the change, right? That's the goal. That's the way the Constitution was written, was to help us know that we could do this, but that ideally we wouldn't have to do this. And if it weren't for this situation here, right, like, we wouldn't. But without these guys laying down their arms and, like, taking off their fucking ownership bullshit, look at this dude. Like, if it wasn't for this, we wouldn't have to be here, right? The changes would have happened in the voting polls, and the changes would have happened at every step along the way, instead of basically never happening until now. It's been like just molasses, you know, like just a fucking road of molasses. Ridiculous. And this is why. It's right. It's this guy, and this is the guy, like, in every white person, they have to at some point metabolize this, right? Maybe not future generations. Like, I really don't think my niece Ashlyn is going to necessarily have to do that, you know, but it does happen, you know. Mine started young. I'm pretty lucky in that regard, that, like, I recognize this dude pretty young inside myself, and have, like, worked to varying degrees with different levels of tenacity to, like, resolve this, right? And, like, but hopefully future generations aren't going to have this as much, and there's going to be dialogue, you know. There's going to be this coming together, this, like, coming together, this sharing of experience, you know, like, and it's not going to have to do all of this, but it's kind of like white people gotta, like, see this dude inside themselves, and then they gotta do this inside themselves, right? That's something that they have to do inside each one of their own selves. And I don't know about everybody, but I know in my own life and the people around me, the people that I have known who have not done this and then this with themselves, right? Like, who inside themselves have not recognized this guy here, this belligerent white asshole two-faced dude. The white people I know who have not recognized this guy inside themselves and then fought that guy and then come to this, like, union of understanding, they're doing it now. Like, this macro experience here, in the face of the information that we were already having, and them, like, everything's on this, like, pause, right? It's like, it's really easy to fill your days with busyness and forget what's really going on. It's very easy to get caught up in your day-to-day, but we're kind of in this position where people's day-to-day has been so disrupted that they were already under this full moon of illumination in so many ways, seeing how things are so fucked up. And then this has brought us to a place where, like, I think real understanding is starting to, you know, happen in a pretty massive way. We're still in here, though, right? Like, I'm not trying to say, like, the battle's done and, like, everybody should stop. Like, some changes, maybe not enough. Maybe this is, like, gonna be longer. But then this is, like, you know, where we're going. Like, the union of coming together, the reflection, also a union of coming together, right? And then this, like, commitment to moving forward. And I think it's really meaningful to see that major arcana are here. And that's a part of, like, what I think, like, sort of designates this section as future, or, you know, the thing about the past present and future is that they like overlap, right? They're like little Venn diagrams. So it's like maybe we're here, or like maybe we're here, or like maybe we're like here, right in the center, you know. Maybe we're kind of like here, you know, and we're not really yet to like here, because these cards are like, you know, real definitive sections. But, you know, I feel like we've been in this area. It's almost like actually we've been like this. Let's do this visually. Let's do this right. We've been, I feel like we've been in this area for a while, you know, like, I don't know, I'm only 38, but it seems like we've kind of been here for super long ass time. And like now I think that we're like way more here than there. Like I feel like this guy is like, white people are just slowly like letting this dude go, you know? And I say slowly because it didn't happen like this right now, and it took so much to get it started on a mass scale and a like really micro level. It's been going on, you know, like I've had tons of conversations. I know other people have had tons of conversations. I know a lot of white people who are actively anti-racist, but it's not, hasn't been enough, you know, like not enough people are like seeing this dude inside themselves, and that's been such a fucking problem. And that's why we're where we are, you know. So yeah, that's what I got for there.